Welcome everybody to another installment of my tips, tricks, and battle tactics for Star Trek Ascendancy. And today I'm going to be starting with one of the base races, the Klingons. This is one of the races that come in the base game, and they're very potent and very powerful race to play, even with all the expansions that have come out. Their advantage is ever victorious. You get one culture for every 3 or more ships you defeat in battle. That's definitely useful mid-game as you're coming across enemy fleets and you can pick them off. You'll have to prioritize your targets with 3 or more and get a culture. So that's a pretty good conversion. The only problem is that later in the game, when fleets start getting larger and more protected, you only get one culture even if you defeat a fleet of 10 ships or 15 ships above a strategic planet. But especially if the Borg cube are in, you'll get one from those, and it's definitely a good way for you to get a good amount of culture. Their disadvantage is death before dishonor, where you can never retreat or surrender a planet. This definitely is going to cause you to suffer some casualties that you normally wouldn't, where areas where it's just not strategic to hold on to, or if you have individual ships that are off on their own that can get picked off by other fleets, you're just going to have to fight to the death regardless. So that disadvantage is going to cost you a certain number of ships, but it really shouldn't affect your gameplay all that much. Just keep that in mind. As all the races do, they start out with 3 fleets. The one I would advise everyone to build in the beginning is their assault fleet. It's not as useful as the science fleet or the colony fleet that the Federation have in the early game, but you're more likely than not to come across either a pre-warp or warp 1 civilization early on in the game, but before you come across a enemy rival faction. So that assault fleet will allow you, if you have enough ships, to take on a warp capable 2 and definitely a warp capable 1 civilization and give you that extra advantage. Once you have that, either the battle group or the marauder group I both think would be useful in the mid game. But in the later game, having a fleet size of 10 ships is definitely a powerful advantage that the Klingons have that no other faction can do. They have some great technology that can make their ships incredibly potent. The optional rules that me and my friends like to play the most is where you get to choose one free technology in the beginning and have it utilized from the very start. If you do play that version, which I feel moves the game along much quicker, I would recommend Commandeer and Conscript. You may use a command to place one free ship in any system you control in which you do not have any ships. It's a great way to get a free ship or 2 early on. You can even do this in your home world in the beginning of send your ships out, and then as soon as they're gone, sacrifice one of your commands, which in the beginning you may not have much to do. And whenever there's a turn that you don't have a command that you really want to utilize for something else, one free ship is definitely pretty useful. Another very useful technology for the Klingons is the adaptive cloaking device that gives you the advantage the Romulans have in order to get first strike. When that gives you the strong incentive to be on the attack, to be the aggressor, and to attack areas where if you're the same number of ships, if you were defending, you would lose, but you would actually win. I like the Cult of Kalis, orbital shipyards, and militarized industry. Cult of Kalis is particularly useful against the Borg. If you're in a battle where you don't think you're going to win, but you actually have more ships than the Borg currently has life, you can just have them ram the vessel. You'll win the match against the Borg. Orbital shipyards allows you to build one free ship in every starbase. That's definitely a mid or a late game advantage. But to be honest, a lot of these technologies are great. A lot of them increase your warp capability, which is a great useful tool for building a really powerful fleet and then putting it in and out of warp, and it can show up in really far off places that your enemy won't expect. Or you could even surprise attack someone that was your ally in order to get the additional culture to take you over the top. So if you are playing the Klingons, I would definitely try to come across a Warp 1 or a Warp 2 civilization early on, conquer them, colonize a few planets, and then get a few technologies, get a good fleet going, and then go around and harass your enemies. A great way the Klingons to bully themselves even during peacetime is each one of the races that you come across them in a really powerful fleet that could defeat that initial fleet and demand to get that 3 production trade agreement. That's what a lot of my opponents have done to me, and the Federation is usually more than willing to hand over that 3 to the Klingons in order to ensure peace. That would be my advice, and I hope this has helped you out. What's your favorite race to play in Star Trek Ascendancy? Bye.